All right. So this is Scotty. For once, I'm introing the episode because Schmitty is not here. What we're doing today is a little bit different. This time, I am going to be interviewed by none other than the Ecom Cowboy, who you already know, and my boy, another Ecom dispensary member. Two of them are going to interview me. And I guess this is knowledge drop number 20. We got some cool episodes coming after the interview, too. But yeah, let's kick it off. I'll hand over to John and see where this all goes. I think we might just talk jujitsu. This might not
All
be
right.
an episode.
All right, guys, what's going on? First of all, I wanted to ask like what my boy wants to be referred as, and maybe we could cut it out if he doesn't want his name.
Right, we could do that. If you want to just refer with the Twitter handle Vitruvius.
Vitruvius, cool, man. Yeah, so I'm gonna let him kick things off. And yeah, he's got a good first question that he wants to get into. Get the ball rolling.
So let's get down to like the technical business stuff. I know that's what everyone's here for. So first thing we want to know from Scotty, we're having some individual time with him. So we want to know, do you have a girlfriend or maybe a boyfriend? You know, whatever you got going on.
So I guess currently I do not have a girlfriend. Yeah, I think that's about as far as we'll go on that one. Currently I do not have a girlfriend. Also currently don't really live anywhere or don't really know where I live. So that makes it a little tough to have a girlfriend.
Right. Very cool. Very cool.
Word, man. Yeah, so where does the start of the Scottman we know today begin?
I mean, if we
Like in terms of, you can go as far as just like your personal development when that started, or you could start at just your business career, if you would.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess if we go back personal development wise, I was a super shy kid. I'm not like super shy, but like pretty shy. And like I had my friends who I talked to, and I was kind of the leader in the loser group. But I was definitely like shy, not a popular kid when I was super young. But I always had football, soccer. That like made me. That's where I was confident. I was always a leader in the football team. That was my passion growing up from like age, I don't know, 3, 4 till age 16 for sure. So I found business stuff. That always gave me confidence, and I was always friends with all the coolest kids, and they all respected me from soccer. In terms of like personal development, I really wanted to like get more confident, be like the cool kid. I wanted to get the chicks, like I think everyone does. But unlike most people, I actually like tried to figure out how do I do this when I was like 13, 14. So I've stumbled on some weird corners of the internet that I guess led me to where I am today. Found some pretty, I think they called themselves like hardcore self-development. There's this website like Good Looking Loser, and it's not the wishy-washy, all positive self-help stuff you'll find in bestseller books. It's yeah, it's more hardcore. It's like talking about steroids and shit, talking about all kinds of sketchy, illegal, gray hat stuff. And I found that when I was super young, and kind of changed my life because it exposed me, first of all, to a lot of good personal self-development stuff. I've been consistently lifting weights since I was like 12. Um, and exposed me to that. Then it exposed me to like improving confidence, improving social skills, improving how you talk to chicks, how you deal with chicks. And then it also later exposed me to the making money online world, kind of all through this weird corner of the internet. I guess like I really worked on like lifting weights, getting in better shape, and getting my social confidence up first. And then I kind of got that all, I wouldn't say handled, but like I made massive strides when I was like 15, 16. And I got to a point where, okay, now I'm fucking the popular guy. I'm the fucking captain of the football team, which gets you absolutely no social points in Switzerland, unfortunately. But so I was a cool guy. I had a girlfriend. Life was good. Like I was going to parties every weekend. But then I needed a new challenge. Like I'd sort of achieved this, and now I needed something new, and that's when I got into the online business stuff, and haven't really looked back since in the past 6 years or so.
Cool, man. So before stumbling upon the whole business side of things, did you have an idea of what you wanted to be? Was it business before, or was it maybe you wanted to be a professional footballer?
I mean, everyone wants to be a professional footballer. I think I knew at about age 5 that wasn't in the cards for me.
Why is that?
Because I was a very ambitious footballer and I loved football, but I wasn't very good. Especially at a young age, I got better and better with age. Like we had like tiers of, you have in every age group, you'd have the first team, the second team, the third team. I was usually in like I was in the bottom team in my first year, and in my second year, I'd be in the second, like in the middle level. And then after 2 years, you go up an age bracket. So I was never in the top team even. So I wasn't even good at my shitty local level. But then because I kept playing and I always showed up for training and I fucking always worked hard, and yeah, I just over time I became good. So like at age like 13, 14, I was suddenly like a good player at my shitty local level. And then by the time I was 18, I was like I was the first guy out of all of us that came up together. I was the first guy to go play at adult level, but it was still very shitty adult level. Like I am not a good player. So I knew at a very young age that I wasn't going to be a footballer. But I was always interested in money. Like I loved playing Monopoly when I was a kid. I loved counting my money. I would always count my money, and I was always saving. I was working odd jobs when I was in like kindergarten to try and save money and make money. And when I was like age 9 or 10 at school, when asked what I wanted to do later in life, my answer was CFO.
Okay.
So, yeah, I always knew I wanted to work in finance essentially. So CFO, investment banking, that's kind of always what I wanted to do. And then I found online business.
Cool,
I guess
man.
I'm
So
CFO of my company.
yeah, definitely. So you did mention briefly that you'd always show up to practice, and then you were kind of always, it seems like you were always hustling even at a young age. So do you kind of think that you're just naturally disciplined, or was it ever something that you had to work on improving?
I never had to work on discipline.
Okay.
Okay, a couple things. So I think a lot of it comes from my dad. My dad is a workhorse. Like he works insane hours for his company. And I mean, he does a lot of the things that from our perspective is like classic mistake of giving your life to the company, out of shape, unhealthy, works insane hours for this company that just makes him upset and frustrated a lot of the time. But that's just what he does. That's just how he was raised. And just Swiss people are not raised to work hard. Swiss people are raised to be very comfortable, and it's important to be happy. But my dad is Scottish, and I don't know if this is true for all Scottish people, but he was definitely raised that working hard is a virtue and really the only virtue that matters. That's how he was raised, and he passed that on to me. So a lot of it comes from my dad. And then also because of I guess the story I told you before of being a shitty footballer, but always showing up, always working hard, eventually being a good guy in the team, and then being the best guy in the team, arguably. That, like, the fact that I was the first guy to play adult level football from all the people that came up with me, that should not have happened. Like, if you saw us at age 5, nobody would have put money on me. Because like I was just uncoordinated, chubby. Like I should not have been that guy, but I was, and it was just a case of always showing up and working hard. So I knew the value of hard work from football. So I think it's a combination of those two things. Sports gave me that because I saw that hard work pays off, and also just the way I was raised by my dad. School's always super important, working hard. I always did super well in school as well. So that kind of reinforced that I'm smart, which I think is a great thing. Like if you teach your kids that they're smart and the world reinforces that they're smart, I think that helps a lot. If you're always told that you're smart, you're going to do better in life, whether you're actually smarter than average or not.
Yeah, man, definitely. That's good insight for sure.
Dude, so it sounds like when you were in high school, so it sounds like you had a lot of things going on top of starting your online business. So you were definitely like juggling like sports, schoolwork, and things like that, right?
100%, yeah.
So I feel like a lot of people now, including me, when they get into online business, they also have like a few primary like responsibilities that they're taking care of, whether it be like a job, a family, schoolwork, things like that. Um, so based off of your experience from that young of an age, just building an online business with all these things like piled on top of that, what would you like say is the best thing you could do to learn how to manage your time better through that whole stage, you know?
Mm-hmm. For me, it was simply a case of not doing the bullshit that everyone else does. Like I didn't spend a lot of time hanging out with friends. To this day, I'm not a guy who I needs to hang out with people every day. Got my social interaction at school. I got my social interaction at football. Um, but I wasn't like meeting up with people just to kill time. I was never doing that. Um, I wasn't hanging out just to smoke weed and sitting around. And I didn't watch Netflix. I didn't watch a bunch of YouTube. That was really it. Like the time that most people kill because they're bored, I didn't have that because I was never bored. Because if I was bored, I could have been working, and I did work. So that was really all it took for me in terms of time management. To be fair, though, I mean, obviously, my school work was not that intense, partly because I was really good at it, and partly just because high school isn't that time intensive. So I just used dead time. Like if I had 3 hours in the day, if I got back from school at 3 p.m. and I had football training at 7, I would work from 3 to 6, eat quickly and go. Like I wouldn't come home from school and be like, oh, I'm tired, I need to rest. Because I think that's kind of where a lot of people fuck up, where they're tired, so I need to take a break. Whereas I got home and I was tired, but I would just start working. And because it's a change of tasks, you just kind of, you make it work. It's like, you don't need a break. You don't need as many breaks as you think.
Right, I definitely agree with that. I think that a lot of people also, like for me, I didn't realize the importance of managing my time until I hit like the age of like 20. I'm 23 now. But I would do that. I would come home from school and I would go to jujitsu at like 6. And from like 3:30 to 6, I would either be like hanging out with my girlfriend doing nothing or just like watching TV. And then when I got older and I realized that, time actually matters and that it's fleeting, I started to realize that it's important to manage it like very incrementally, like even the 15 minutes that you have that's free.
Yeah. I think time management becomes a lot more important when you have a shit ton of time. When you don't have a lot of time, I don't think time management is all that important. It's just whenever you're free, work. I think it's pretty simple in that sense. But where time management comes into play more is, I guess, in the situation that the three of us are all in now, where we don't have a full-time job, we don't have full-time school, we have jiu-jitsu, we go to the gym, maybe we have a girlfriend, we have to fit in work and everything else we want to do. Like, because we have so much more time now we need to manage our time to make sure we're not just sitting at the desk 12 hours a day doing nothing for 8 of them. I think now it's more important. Whereas when you have very little time, if you only have 2 hours a day, you just need to sit down and work. You don't need to manage your time. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I mean, to be honest, the high school days weren't, the high school days were pretty chill in terms of managing workload. The real tough period for me was when I had to work civil service for a year. So in Switzerland, we have to do army service or civil service. I did civil service because if I went to the army, I couldn't continue running my business. And that was a super intensive time because I was running stores. I don't know if I was still running affiliate websites, but I was definitely running stores, and I was working on a lot of Blue Ocean stuff with Nate. And man, like I had a 42-ish hour work week officially. Sometimes I did a little less, but that's what it officially was. So I'd be in school from like 7:30 in the morning until, call it 4:30 p.m. And then I'd have football training 3 times a week at 7. I'd go lift weights in my lunch break. Like that was intense. Like I was doing something literally every second of the day from 7 a.m. waking up until like 11:30 at night. I did not have any downtime. That was a super intense and stressful period. But it was temporary. So you just kind of grind through it. And also Schmitty definitely helped me pick up some of the slack there. Schmitty definitely helped there. And yeah, I mean, I just fucking grind through it. That was the only time I really had to grind. Also gained quite a bit of weight. I was not looking good. Looking at pictures of me back then during that period, like I was not looking good because I would stress. I would come back from work, be fucking exhausted, and instead of taking a break, I would fucking go for some cheap calories, go for some sugar, whatever, and then get to work. That's kind of what got me through it.
Nice, man. I feel like that's a necessary kind of thing to go through. Honestly, I feel like it builds a lot of grittiness, you know, especially for the front-loaded type of business, that we're in.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely a worthwhile experience. I wouldn't want to go back to it.
So, how does your routine differ now? Like at the level that you're at now with the whole team and everything, as opposed to when you were doing civil service and when you were in high school as well.
So my routine differs in the sense that now I get up in the morning and I have nothing to do except for business.
Right.
So I can solely focus on that. So instead of being busy from 7 a.m. till 11:30, I'm only really busy for 4 to 6 hours a day. But actually working 4 to 6 hours a day is like double or triple the amount of work I used to get done. So I'm a lot less stressed, a lot less busy, but I work a lot more on my business. In terms of the team, the big shift is that I'm not really doing any of the business. Like if you think of all the tasks that the business has, it's like customer service, you have to order products, you have to ship out orders, you have to make ads, you have to manage ads, you have to shoot content, you have to write copy. I don't actually do any of the functions of the business. 3PL ships orders, our sourcing guy sources it, our ads guy manages the ads, we've got a content guy. I don't actually do any of the key functions in the ecom business. All I do is manage the entire operation. So I really am like CEO, CFO, whatever you want to call it. And there's a shift there where you go from creative person, where you're the marketer, where you have to do deep work. You need uninterrupted hours of work where you sit down and you write, you sit down and you research, you sit down and you brainstorm new angles. That work is very different to the work I do now, where it's just kind of, sometimes I need to think, sometimes I need to make decisions, sometimes I need to plan out strategy or whatever. But most of the time, day to day, I just need to get back to emails. I need to get back to Slack messages. I need to get back to Skype messages. It's more of a reactive role. I'm not creating, I'm not producing something out of nothing as much anymore, and more so creating an environment for all our creative people to flourish. So I'm creating an environment where our ads guy does not need to worry about sales tax.
Right. Do you prefer this role now, more of like managing and dealing with things that come to you over the creative role that you used to be in?
That's a good question. I think I'm better at it. Do I prefer it? Yes, probably. But I have this thought in the back of my mind that I wish I was still a marketer. I wish I was still a direct response guy, because I love that world. I owe a lot to my knowledge of copywriting. Like a lot of my success comes from the study of direct response marketing and copywriting. And I wish I could still be honing that craft at times, but it's not what I'm great at. Nate is a better marketer than I am. Our ad guy, Josh, is a better marketer than I am. It's not where my main skill lies. So I don't think it makes sense for me to go super deep and try and become world class at that, because I'm not as talented as other people on our team. But I do often still wish that I could go deeper on that. And with a lot of people that I like mentor now or talk to or have on my team, I really try to push them. If I see they have talent for marketing, I try to push them to go really deep on that skill and not worry about everything else. And I kind of see that as my role in the company too, where take talented marketers, give them, it's like perfect example. We hired a guy for Snapchat ads. We have an offer that we know works. We have email marketing set up. We have everything set up. And I can just plug him into our business and just let him work on the marketing. No need to worry about accounting, sales tax, product fulfillment, customer service. Don't worry about any of it and just market. And I think that is super cool and super valuable for guys like that who are good at marketing and can then afford just focus on that one skill, developing that skill and scaling up the ads essentially.
Yeah, definitely.
It's almost like people who recommend going into affiliate marketing first, because you get to learn paid traffic without having to worry about the dozen other things that come with running an ecom business. That's kind of what these guys can do at our company, because they get to focus on just marketing without needing to deal with all the other bullshit. And they have a better business. They have better margins, better business setup than an affiliate marketer. Because an affiliate marketer, you're kind of in an arbitrage business model. Whereas with us, we have more margin to work with. So yeah, I think it's a super cool opportunity for those couple of guys we do have on the team.
So just going back for a second to how you were saying you're doing more operations now instead of the creative work. Do you think it requires less like mental energy and focus on your part to just be handling the operations versus making the ads and doing the media buying every day?
It requires less deep focused work.
Right.
There's nothing I do day to day that requires me to be focused on the same task for an hour and a half.
So where do you put that focus? Like, are you focused throughout the day, like on jujitsu, like watching John Danaher videos, getting better at that? Mm-hmm. Are you improving at other things? You know, like where do you allocate that mental energy, so to say, just throughout the day, throughout the week?
So again, a good question.
So I mean, it has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Single X Scotty did take somebody's back and choke them out the other day. I'm thinking that there's a lot of focus going there, you know?
At times. So, okay, this is, for a while I was Spanish a lot. So a lot of focus time was going towards Spanish. Right now I'm kind of chilling on the Spanish because I've kind of reached a plateau and I'm also about to leave Mexico. So for a while I was also super focused on jiu-jitsu when I decided I was going to do that tournament. And it was, I guess, like 10 days out. So I was super heavily focused on no-gi grappling because I went from training no-gi maybe once a week, mostly gi. And suddenly I've got a tournament in 10 days that's no-gi. So I was focusing super heavily on that for those 10 days. Since the tournament, I guess it's a bit more balanced. I do watch some jiu-jitsu videos, going through some instructionals, but I mean, I'd say most of my energy and focus is on dealing with the day-to-day, because it's not uninterrupted deep work time, but it still takes a lot of energy when you have, like, at any given time 5 to 15 Skype messages plus Slack plus emails or whatever to deal with. And then I'm also working on a couple of projects that I do handle myself. So for example, I'm handling all the Amazon FBA stuff for our different brands. That's just all me. So I'm doing that, handling with whatever comes in, and then just always asking myself the question of, are we doing the right things in the business to get to where we want to go? Do we need to adjust our strategy? Are we actually sticking to the strategy that we set out originally? Does this still make sense? What adjustments need to be made? Do we have enough cash to pursue this strategy in terms of how much inventory we're buying? And then I'm also focusing on training the employees we have. Notably, I've got a little marketing intern for one of our companies that I'm trying to teach direct response marketing and getting him involved. That's pretty time intensive as well. But yeah, I don't have anything that I get up and I work on for 2 hours a day. It's every day is a little bit different, but every day just involves opening up my laptop and kind of seeing what comes at me.
So because you have like a few different things going on, do you have like a notebook or like a to-do list or a checklist that you prep for the week for, or like the night before for the day, or do you just kind of take things as they come?
I don't have a daily to-do list. I have done that in the past. I have a weekly task list that I check stuff off of.
Gotcha.
And then whenever I have a call with, like, today we had our team call. So that adds a couple, every time we have a call essentially with anyone, that adds a couple elements to to-do lists. If you have a call with an accountant, that generally adds something. You have a call with a team, that generally adds a bunch of elements that you need to get back to people on, you need to figure out. Yeah. It's like today from our team call, just a bunch of little tasks. I need to send one of our guys access to some courses and info that I want him to go through. I need to give our sourcing guy projections, 3 month. The factory wants 3 month projections for each SKU that we have, which yeah, that's gonna be interesting how I figure that out. And I need to create an email for the new store that we're setting up. So super simple tasks, but just little things I need to do. And then a lot of my day-to-day is also just checking in with people. Like, where are we at with this? Where are we at with that? How's this going? Are we still doing this? Why not? Stuff like that.
So you mentioned earlier that your dad is also a businessman. I was curious if you did tell him, but what was his reaction when you told him that you hit your first 1 million?
So my dad's a corporate guy, not a business owner. I don't think we've ever actually had that conversation of like, hey, I crossed the million threshold. So I didn't tell anyone in my life that I was doing online business stuff and trying to make money online for, I want to say, about 3 years, probably a bit more than 3 years. Then I told my girlfriend at the time. I told her a little bit about it. And then when we split up, I was kind of like, you know, if my now ex-girlfriend knows, I should probably tell my parents. I told my dad, and yeah, I mean, he was super proud. He thought it was cool, but he only thought it was cool because I was making money at the time. I think if I'd told him when I was like 16 and didn't make any money for 6 months and was trying to make money online with like little websites, little shitty websites, that would not have been cool. That would have been a waste of time, and you're going to get in trouble. Is this legal? This and that. There would have been a lot of negative talk then. But when you tell people after you're making money, it's kind of like, oh, this is cool. That's cool.
Definitely, man. I relate to that a lot.
Yeah, shitty websites with no income, not cool. I made over 100 grand last year. Very cool.
Right.
We were just talking about that, me and John actually, because my dad was really shitting on this when I quit my job. I didn't tell my parents I had quit, but I quit, and then he found out. Me and him were like working in the garage, and I guess he just threw it out there, and I had to be honest because it was so, like, he just knew. And he was shitting on me for it for a couple of months, but now he like had me help him build a store. So he's got like a site up now. You know, and he's running Facebook ads. He's spending like $100 a day right now as well, you know. So now he's like, yeah, I actually want to know what this is about.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly super secretive. Like, I don't tell people what I do. Most of the people who went to my high school are like that are on my personal Instagram. None of them actually know that I'm in Mexico. There's like 5 people that know I've been in Mexico for the past 6 months. I'm a pretty secretive person like that. So
Where does that come from? Why are you extremely low key? Which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this interview, because I mean, I'm always listening to your stuff. I mean, plenty of other people are always listening to you, but we don't really know who you are.
I don't know where that comes from. Probably just a weird kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess 3 years of working on online business stuff, going from zero to making money and not telling anyone, that was a really positive thing for me because, I mean, I changed my life forever by doing that. And I don't really like attention. Like, I had this weird experience where I was at the train station in my hometown, and this kid I used to go to school with and played soccer with, a guy I really like, but not a friend. He was like, "Oh, I saw you on YouTube," or no, like our mutual childhood friend, like, "Oh, he saw you on YouTube in like an economics video." I'm like, "An economics video? Like what?" And at the time, I didn't get it. I was wondering, is it something from the university, something from high school that they filmed and put up or whatever? Then afterwards, it clicked. Like, this dude's obviously into ecom and was watching a Nate Schmidt video, and then my fucking face popped up. And I was kind of uncomfortable with that. Like, I don't need people knowing. I'm also
that's fair.
weirdly amused when people are like, "Oh, it's going well for you now, but like, do you think this is gonna last?" Or like, you know, because I'm not going to university. Everyone else is going to university. People are like, "Oh, okay, this is fine now, but like, this is gonna work in the future. You think this business is still gonna be around?" And I'm like, I hate to break it to you, but it doesn't really matter if it's around or not at this point. Like, I'm gonna be all right one way or another.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nobody really knows to what extent I'm doing well. And like, I don't really tell when people ask. I'm like, yeah, it's been fine. Like, I could be fucking losing thousands a day, and I'll be like, yeah, it's going fine. Could be making thousands a day. Yeah, it's going fine. Just kind of, I have no desire to tell people about my results or what we're doing or whatever.
So
Yeah, I feel that too.
So what do you tell people that you do if people ask you what you do for a living? I know John asked, he asked Nate that as well.
Kind of depends who's asking. Here in Mexico, weirdly, I'm a lot less uncomfortable talking about what I do. People also ask less, which is cool. And like in the United States and in Switzerland, well, in Switzerland, the number one question is people don't even ask what I do. People just ask what I study because they immediately assume I'm a student. In the US, the question is, what do you do? And it's like the first question you ask when you meet someone. Um, I kind of like how here in Mexico, like I did jujitsu with this guy, we partied a lot together. We were like hanging out a bunch. This Mexican dude, and he asked me like after 4 months of like hanging out together. So like, are you on vacation here, or like do you work, or what do you do? Like it didn't come up for fucking 4 months. Whereas in Switzerland or in the United States, that comes up in the first convo you have with anyone. Um, what I answer here, I've been answering like, yeah, I run a company, like I run a clothing company. Um, back home, I guess I usually say like I run a marketing company, or we do Facebook ads, sell stuff online. I have various answers. Unfortunately, the true answer is super self-centered, and like I couldn't say it with a straight face. Like, what do you do? Oh, I'm a CEO. I'm CEO of an international conglomerate.
Cool, man. So I want to change the pace here a little and get some more like direct ecom questions in. So I kind of want to, so this is going to be like a series of questions, and it's just to give people some clarity depending on what their situation is. So like for the first question, let's say I'm in my first few months of ecom, what should my focus be?
In your first few months of ecom, your focus should be, on the one hand, learning the skill, so studying direct response marketing. You don't need to study ecom, you don't need to study Facebook ads, you just need to study marketing. That is the fundamental underlying skill that will lead you to success. So study direct response marketing. In terms of what you're actually working on, you need to get a product market offer combo to work. So like that formula of what you're selling, how you're selling it, who you're selling it to, you need to test those combos with Facebook ads and get them to work profitably. That is the thing.
Okay, cool. So now the next one is going to be, I've been doing these things that you mentioned for, let's say, 6 months, and I still can't get things to work. What do you think? It's kind of hard because I'm leaving out a lot of details, but I'm sure you've recognized patterns. What do you think my focus should be with the limited information?
Yeah. So here I would do, the answer is it depends, but I have a better answer, which is you need to do troubleshooting. You need to figure out, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to change about my approach? Or am I doing everything right and I just need to keep testing? So if you've been doing it for 6 months without results, my first question would be, how many different products or stores have you tested? If your answer is 2, that's probably not enough. If your answer is 84, that's probably too much. In 6 months, I think you should have tested probably 10 to, call it 8 to 12 products. That's what you should have tested in 12 months. If you're, in 6 months, if you're following our sort of strategy. If you've tested way more than that, you're probably not putting in enough effort and thought into each attempt. And here you can ask yourself, and yet, of course, this is introspective. You have to be honest with yourself. Am I confident in each of these tests? Because you should not just be throwing up tests in the hopes that it works. You should be confident in each of your tests that it's going to potentially work. If you're just throwing up random tests, you're not doing it right. On the flip side, if you've only tested 1 or 2 stores, you're likely sticking with something that's not going to work, or not going to work really well for too long. And people that get stuck there are generally the people that are getting some results. They're close to break even. Maybe they're breaking even. And this is really the hard part. I'd say most people that fail for 6 months actually consistently trying, they're the people who tried 1 or 2 things and they kind of worked, but not quite well enough. If you test something brand new and you're getting break-even results, that's good. That's good. That's a good sign. You can make that work for sure. But if you've been running something for 3 months and you haven't been able to get it past break-even, you need to move on. I would say probably like if you can't get it past break-even consistently after like 4 to 6 weeks, you should move on to a new test. And if it's been 4 to 6 weeks and you've done some revenue, try and sell the store for like $1,000 or $2,000.
Okay, cool. So that transitions nicely into the next one, which is have a store that's making profit, but not a lot of profit. Let's say under like 8K or whatever. And again, like I'm focusing on all the right things, but for some reason, I just cannot grow this no matter what I do, no matter how many offers I test, angles, creatives. What should I focus on? And is there a point where you should move on from a profitable store?
Did you say under 8K?
Yeah.
Like under
8K
8K
profit, which is good. Okay, let's say a little less. Let's say like 4K profit.
Okay. Because I'm going to say if you're doing 8K,
Yeah.
the first thing you have to do is tap yourself in the back. Like you've built a business that's worth over 100,000. You're doing well. And that is a legit problem where people get stuck at whatever level, and you're always going to get stuck at different levels. And sometimes you're going to regress. You're going to go from making 10K a month back down to making 4K a month. And that's just part of the process. As long as you're making money and as long as you're consistently trying to improve it, I wouldn't stress out too much about getting stuck at 8K or whatever it is. Is there a point where you should move on from a product that's working? I mean, if you're making 4K a month, I don't really see people getting stuck at like, I guess people do get stuck. You have to ask yourself, have I done everything in my power to make this work? Like if you've done everything you can think of, you've put in your absolute best, you do not know how you could possibly make this any better, and you've done that over 3 months, you've done everything in your power, and you just can't get it to work any better, maybe look to sell it and start something new. But generally, if something's working and it's like John, you mentioned with your first store, it was working, but you saw like a flaw in your product. I think if there's a fundamental big flaw in the product, maybe it's worth moving on. A lot of people will find a flaw in their product and justify moving on because of that. Just kind of the grass is always greener syndrome. Obviously, there's a time to move on, even if it's working. But generally, I would say stay the course. In most cases, that's the right move. In most cases, you're just getting caught up with thinking something else is going to be better, something else is going to be easier, when you should probably keep your head down and get it to work better.
Cool. All right. So the final one for this sort of series of questions, and I asked Nate a similar question towards the end of the interview. And it's so like let's say I'm running a store that's hit 500,000 in revenue, good place to be, but also feels like there's a sticking point that we can't get past, and that can be maybe a certain amount of ad spend, can't get past around $1,500 ad spend. So have you guys had any experiences that have been similar? And if so, how did you guys get past that sticking point?
So we have had many such experiences. I would say in ecom, generally most sticking points are kind of self-imposed, or they're like, it's a sticking point for now. A lot of the time when you break through a sticking point, sometimes it's because you made a huge improvement. That can happen. And if you're doing what we preach, which is always trying to make big improvements, if you're doing that, then you will occasionally break through a sticking point because you made a dramatic improvement. But in my experience, more often, the way you break through those sticking points is unrelated to what you're doing, and it's something in the outside environment. So like last year, if you're at a sticking point, January, February, March, April, the entire world shuts down and your business explodes. And it was nothing that you did. It was just the outside environment, ironically, improved. Maybe you're at a sticking point, May, June, and then in July, there's all these Facebook boycotts and ads get cheaper and you break through your sticking point. Maybe you're at a sticking point and then they send out stimulus checks and you smash through that sticking point. And what happens in my experience is that you break through a sticking point because of something that happens outside of your control, something positive. And then you have a new higher set point after that. You don't go back to the same sticking point. You have like a new higher level sticking point. And I mean, I just mentioned a bunch of weird and wonderful stuff that happened last year. Stimulus checks, Facebook boycott, COVID shutdowns, all helping ecom. But actually there's like one big, huge event every year that a lot of people break through sticking points during, and that's Q4. So Q4 is an interesting time because it's actually a hard time for ecom, especially if you're getting started. It's not an easy time to start a store because the ad costs are so much higher. It's so competitive. Everyone's running sales, even big brands. But if you're already running established, you have an offer that's working in the summer, oftentimes you will be able to scale up pretty massively in Q4, and then you will keep that momentum going into the new year. And for us, January is often the best month because we greatly increase our revenue through Q4. And then in January, or like last year, it was like December 27th or something, results just went through the roof out of nowhere. It's like all of Q4, we're like working hard to try and scale and try and keep margins up. And it's tough. It's just really fucking tough. And then suddenly after Christmas, it just becomes easy. Game on easy mode. And we just smashed through every plateau we'd ever had. And we kind of kept that momentum going all the way through this year. I mean, now like we have bad months where maybe we have an inventory issue, maybe we have whatever fucking issue we have. It's a slow month, it's a summer, economy is reopening up, probably a hard time for ecom right now. But still, we're doing better than our best months last year, simply because our plateau, our set point, our sticking point is so much higher than it was last year. So even bad months compared to last year are really fucking good now.
Interesting, man. So yeah, just focus on what's in our control and iterate on what we're doing, improve things. That's your advice, right?
100%. Just always be improving everything you're doing. It's kind of like that meme on Twitter where it's like train everything. Like you should train boxing, you should train grappling, you should train your neck, you should train your arms, you should train legs, you should train everything. It's the same in ecom, just improve everything. Improve customer service, improve logistics, improve shipping times, improve your product offering, improve your ads, improve your content, improve your copy, improve your media buying, just improve everything. But at the same time, you work on improving everything and there's no progress and you're just like grinding away and you're not really getting anywhere. And then suddenly something weird happens in the real world and your results explode overnight. Generally how it kind of goes.
Cool. So have you seen a sort of flat line in many other businesses in the period before like Q3, like Q2-ish?
So you're asking if I've seen a flat line in like revenue or profit in other businesses? Do you mean non-ecom businesses?
No. I mean e-commerce businesses.
Yeah, I mean,
so
like, I
yeah,
think
go ahead.
statistically speaking, if you're looking at averages and also common sense, the summer months are harder. The summer months are slower, less gets sold overall, I believe. That's always what people said. I can't say I've seen the statistics, but common knowledge, common wisdom is the summer months are slower. But on any given business, if you started in January, then you're probably going to be doing fucking shit ton better in August than you were doing in March, simply because the business has matured and you've scaled. So it's one of those things where summer months can be harder, but if you're still far away from the potential of your business, and I think almost everyone listening to this, and probably all three of us on this call, are still far away from the potential of our business. If you're making all the improvements, you can see consistent growth throughout the summer, even when it should be a slower time. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, yes, it's like the overall economy might be down, but your company can be way up just because you're growing. Like overall ecom might be down in the summer, but you can still be way up.
Right.
So similar to questions about growing in the business and things such as that, growing with business. I think that there's a lot of personal development and like mindset growth that I've experienced, and I think that people who are in this type of space experience as well. And I was thinking about this the other day. Actually, I was playing a video game. I was playing the UFC game, and I was creating a fighter, and I like made myself in the game, right? And you can like select attributes and like archetypes for your fighters. And I do a lot of jiu-jitsu, so I like selected a jiu-jitsu archetype with jiu-jitsu attributes and like strength attributes and things that I would give to myself. And I kind of just like had this realization. Like I've also thought this for a while, but while playing, I just had the realization that you can kind of do that with your own life. Like if you just look at your life as a video game, you can give yourself certain attributes. So tying that into business and just general success in life, you know, wherever you want to get. If you were to let's say create a character that was to succeed in business and in life, what like top 3 to 5 attributes would you give that character so that they would have the best skills they could, the best attributes they could have to succeed in business and in life? And they could be things that you could work on, like being organized, like having emotional control, like being disciplined, being gritty, you know, things like that. So what would you say are like the top like 3 to 5 things that you would I guess work on yourself, or just advise to somebody to focus on?
Mm-hmm. So in no particular order,
Right.
I would say the ability to get up and do the work every day, regardless of how you feel, is huge. I don't know, how would we call that? I don't even know if it's discipline. It's almost like it's ability to effortlessly stick to habits, ability to just do the work day in, day out for years on end. That's huge. Ability to focus on a single task and not be easily distracted. I'd say Schmidt is really good at that, to be honest. That's always something I recognize in him, that he's way better at focusing on a task than I am. Then probably in terms of business and also overall life, maybe the most important skill is the skill of acquiring skills. Being able to teach yourself anything is absolutely massive. And I truly believe I can learn anything. I could teach myself how to code. I can teach myself how to do jiu-jitsu. I could teach myself how to speak Spanish. And it's not that you have to do it all yourself, but it's that you figure out how to seek out the right information and how to memorize it, or how to apply it, and how to practice it, how to internalize it. That ability to learn skills and acquire skills is absolutely massive. Absolutely massive.
Do you think you're a fast learner?
Do I think I'm a fast learner? I am good at reading something and understanding what I read. A lot of people, this is something I realized in high school, where I always used to think other students were just lazy or like they couldn't focus or they didn't study enough or whatever. But then you get put in groups and you all have to read the same text. I really realized this when I was in this group and we had to read a historical text about like the Industrial Revolution or some shit. And then afterwards we had to discuss it in our group of 3 or 4. And normally I'm like working with my buddies who are all pretty fucking sharp. But then for a while I was in this group where I was just way better at school, call it more intelligent, better at school, whatever, than everyone else in the group. And we'd all read the text. I'd be done before them. They'd finish reading the text and they just wouldn't know what they'd read. They wouldn't understand it. They wouldn't remember it. They just were utterly confused by this not overly complex thing that they just read. So I'm good at reading and understanding. Am I a quick learner? Definitely not in a physical sense. It's like jiu-jitsu, for example. I don't pick things up super quickly. But it doesn't matter because I keep showing up and I train more than most people.
So do you think you're a fast learner in business stuff, since it's basically just reading stuff and taking in information?
Maybe. I don't know. I think part of it is that I have so many, compared to most people getting started or most people in the world, I have so many reference points from the past that stuff just makes sense to me quicker. So like, for example, if we're on a call with an accountant will say something to me, Schmitty will be utterly confused by it, and I'll just get it. And the reason I get it and Schmitty doesn't is because I took accounting classes in high school. So I have that reference point, so I just get it. Even though it's not something directly from class, but it's somewhat similar and I can just kind of connect the dots. I just get it. Fucking random stuff I'm talking about with buddies that they can't really wrap their head around how, for example, interest rates and currency devaluation are linked. It's like interest rates in the US are higher than in Switzerland. Oh, so why don't you just invest in the US? It's like, well, if you invest in US dollar and then switch it back into Swiss francs 5 years from now, there's an expected devaluation of the dollar versus the Swiss franc, which is connected to the difference in exchange rates. I just get stuff like this because I have had many reference points in the past from books I've read. I've read a bunch of books in the past 6 years in business and prior. I've done university courses. I've studied business in school. And it's just one of those things where like your past, I think a lot of why I'm quicker to get stuff is just because I've got a long history of consistently showing up. And it's like after 6 years of studying French in school, I didn't have to work hard and I just got good grades in French. Whereas other people who slacked off for the first 3 years, they could never catch up because they were just missing so much of that previous reference experience. And I think it's the same in business and life where stuff just clicks quicker for me because I have all that previous reference experience. I mean, for you guys, both do jujitsu. I think jujitsu is a perfect example of this where if you show a blue belt and a white, so if you show a new move in class that nobody's ever seen before, nobody in the class has ever seen the move, the blue belt is going to be on his first attempt, on average, going to do way better at executing this move than the white belt. The white belt is going to get confused about what was the first step again? Wait, where do I put my hand? Where do I put my legs? Whereas the blue belt has seen a bunch of similar related moves or just has a concept. He doesn't need to think about how to place his hand. If you tell him it's a Kimura grip, he just knows what a Kimura grip is. Whereas the white belt is trying to like figure out what the fuck's this configuration of my hands. You just have those past reference points and it lets you do something new that you've never done before a lot easier. I don't have the knowledge of biology or brain science, but there is for sure something in your brain that learning random new movement patterns makes it easier to learn unrelated random new movement patterns. And I think it's the same with connecting dots in business, connecting dots in economics, connecting dots in languages, whatever.
Right on.
Yeah, and talking about the connection between jujitsu and business, or sports and business. I mean, first, do you think that there is some benefit? Because there's a lot of people um, uh, that are in the online business space that are on, the money Twitter space, that are in online business that are also into jiu-jitsu, that are all sports, and some people are into other sports as well. But do you think that there's some benefit of doing a sport like jiu-jitsu versus, like basketball or soccer or something else like that, um, to learn and improve in business faster or improve in both fields faster? Do you think there's like a connection or any similarity between those two different domains?
So I'm torn on this, and I love jujitsu, but I sometimes have to push back a bit when people think if you start training jiu-jitsu, you're going to improve at business. I'm like, no, you can be super fat and super out of shape and never step foot in a jiu-jitsu gym and be super successful in business because every waking minute and second of your life is spent focused on business. Is that a life I aspire to live? Absolutely not. Is that a life I recommend you live? Absolutely not. But you don't need jujitsu to get good at business. There are plenty of examples of that. Is there positive carryover from one to the other? Absolutely. I think there's positive carryover from almost everything you do in life to other areas of life. I think learning jujitsu will make learning Spanish easier. I think everything you do actively, everything you read, everything you consume that is like positive has carryover to other areas of life. I think if you do jujitsu from a young age, much like I learned from football that, hey, look, hard work paid off. Like I am not a gifted individual, but I worked hard for years and now I'm suddenly good overnight. I think that lesson pays off massively in business. And I think jujitsu is a very clear way to show that, where you can have someone that's way more athletic than you, but if you've been training for 4 years and he's been training for 3 months, you're going to kick his ass. That's like almost guaranteed. Jiu-jitsu is a very clear example of just keep showing up and you're going to get better. I think there's positive carryover from almost everything positive you do in your life to other areas of your life. I don't know if jiu-jitsu is better than soccer or basketball in that sense, though. Gotcha. Probably a little bit better. But ultimately, it just comes down to, I don't think you should do jiu-jitsu to get better at business. In the same way, I don't think you should lift weights to get better at jiu-jitsu. I think you should lift weights. And if you're doing jiu-jitsu, I think you definitely should lift weights. But I don't think you should be going to the gym to get better at jiu-jitsu. I think you should do jiu-jitsu to get better at jiu-jitsu. And I don't think you should do jiu-jitsu to increase your business's earnings. I think you should improve your business to increase your business's earnings.
Right.
And any sort of side effects, any positive impact that jiu-jitsu gives you in other areas of your life, that should just be a bonus.
Do you think that you could be world class or have a super successful business and be super successful in competitive combat sports at the same time, or do you think that you have to allocate your focus to only one thing, just one thing at a time? Because I know you had a thread about this like a couple of months ago.
Yeah. I think to be one of the best in the world in your chosen field, you have to be singularly focused on it, would be my answer.
Gotcha.
However, you could be a really good black belt and make $1 million a year off ecom, So like that's highly successful, obviously. You're like in the top whatever fraction of a percentage of people who ever start jiu-jitsu, whatever fraction of a percent get to black belt. You're that, plus you're making $1 million a year, which is top whatever percentage of the US, top whatever percent in ecom. But I don't think you're going to be Jeff Bezos and also Gordon Ryan at the same time.
Right.
But then also there's this concept of the skill stack that Scott Adams talks about. Scott Adams, how to fail at almost everything and still win big, huge influence on my life. And I think that's kind of where to be like a top 0.001% person in the world, male or whatever you want to, top 1% male, top fraction of percent male, you could try to be the absolute richest man in the world, but that's unlikely to work. But alternatively, you could be wealthy, but not Jeff Bezos. And at the same time, also really good at jiu-jitsu, but not Gordon Ryan. And at the same time, also speak 5 languages, but not be the best in the world at all those 5 languages. You can add up skills that make you an incredibly valuable, incredibly unique, and incredibly interesting person without being absolutely world-class at any one thing.
Yeah, sounds like a very Renaissance man type of character.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I never thought of it as I want to be a Renaissance man, but I definitely want to be well skilled in various areas of my life that I care about deeply. And that's something I sort of wrote out as my vision for 5-10 years out. And that influences how I spend my time and how I spend my focus, because I don't just want to be focused on business.
Right.
If in 10 years, I am just very successful in business, that is not what I want. I want to be in great shape. I want to speak multiple languages. I want to be well traveled. I want to be very well spoken. And I want to be really good at jiu-jitsu.
So what would go ahead, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that just influences how I spend my time. So when I do spend an hour watching John Danaher triangle instructional instead of working on my business, that is not seen as a waste of time, because to become the person I want to be, I don't just need to be working all the time. I need to be working on multiple different areas of my life.
I agree with that, dude. So where do you see yourself if you were to like close your eyes and visualize 10 years from now, and just talk about one full day in your life? Like, where do you see yourself? Like, are you like living by the beach? Are you, living in a city? Are you training jiu-jitsu twice a day? Are you training jiu-jitsu twice a week? Are you, what do you see yourself doing? Do you have a family? Are you running new and bigger businesses? Just what does one day look like, just ideally 10 years from now for you?
So I want to have 2 base cities where I'm set up. I have a social scene. I have my friends there. I maybe have some girls there, or maybe I have a family. I don't know if I want to have a family in 10 years.
Some girls sounds good.
Some girls does sound good, yeah. So I want to have like a 2-city sort of setup where I have one city by the beach and one place I live by the beach, whether in a city or a small town, and one city that I spend my time in. I do not want to spend winters in Europe. That is very clear. So I want to spend winters somewhere where it's warm, and I want to spend a good portion of the year in the city as well. So that's where I'm living. Realistically, the places those could be, we're looking at city in either Latin America or Europe, and a beach town in either probably Europe or Latin America as well. I am still working. I'm working on a hopefully bigger and better business. Might be the same business I'm running right now. Maybe we're still running it in 10 years, or maybe we're running a new ecom business. I want to be doing ecom for the rest of my career. I don't want to be hopping from business model to business model. maybe we'd have a little SaaS project.
Right.
Maybe we get into something new, but I want to be continually involved in ecom for a very long time, because I just think that's where you see the exponential growth and skills and just building up connections, team knowledge, experience, and everything you need. In good shape. I need to be reasonably lean, somewhat muscular, and training jiu-jitsu, I would say 4 to 6 times a week. I guess I'll be 32, so I might not be able to do the 2 days anymore, but 4 to 6 times a week for sure.
You can still do
Yeah. I don't know. Was there anything else in there that I didn't answer?
I think you covered all of that.
I want to be established in cities. That's important to me, because I'm hanging out with a lot of like digital nomad types, and they're just kind of drifting around. Some of them are like established in Mexico City more so, and I only see them when they're traveling, to be fair. But I don't want to be forever traveling. I want to have base cities, because I think there's a huge benefit to just having friends in a place. And I also don't enjoy always leaving. Like, I'm leaving tomorrow and I'm sad that I'm not going to be able to train jiu-jitsu at this place anymore. Like, I fuck with the coach. Like, I like some of the people here. Like, I'm sad to always be leaving. So I want to have a couple places that I just always come back to. And I also want to learn the languages to like a decent level, like an actually decent level in the place I'm going to live. So I'm probably going to, in 10 years, probably going to speak Spanish, obviously English, German, Portuguese, and probably Russian. Maybe clean up my French a bit. So yeah, languages. I definitely want to learn some more languages. I really enjoy that, and I want to speak the local language of wherever I'm spending my time.
Sick.
Cool. So just want to bring it back to the ecom side, just for a couple more questions, because I don't want to keep you all day. But what is the singular best info product that it could be a book, a course, anything that has directly helped you in ecom?
Is it supposed to be ecom related, or
No, as long as it directly applies to e-commerce.
Foolproof Facebook ads is my answer.
Foolproof Facebook ads? That's of course our course. Our course hasn't really helped me a lot, because I never really studied that. I just kind of made it. There's a ton of marketing books I've read over the years and sort of combined the knowledge with practical info and combining knowledge from different books. If I had to recommend only one book and say this is the most influential book, I would probably say The Ultimate Sales Letter by Dan Kennedy. That is the book if you want to learn how to write a really good sales letter, a really good sales page, that is the place to go.
Cool, man. Yeah, I have that on my bookshelf as well. It's a good one.
In terms of overall life, I'd say How to Fail at Everything and Still Win Big was huge for me. All the books, the Wall Street Playboys books, have been huge for me. Felix Dennis, How to Get Rich, MJ DeMarco, The Millionaire Fastlane. Those two books I read before I got started in business. Like, as I was researching the space and deciding what to do, those books got me set off in the right direction and are like pivotal in my mindset and my overall approach to life and business. But ecom specific, there aren't really many good ecom books. There's a book called E-commerce Evolved that's pretty good, but most ecom books just go out of date very quickly because ecom evolves so quickly. So I would have to recommend a direct response book. And if I could only recommend one direct response book, I would probably say The Ultimate Sales Letter by Dan Kennedy.
Word, man. You guys did mention, and I don't know if you guys want to share this, but you guys mentioned that you bought a course that was pretty expensive. Would you be willing to share what that course was?
I would definitely be willing to share it if I knew which one you were talking about. We have bought multiple courses that were pretty expensive. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, it was like a month or two ago. You guys mentioned on the dispensary, and I want to say it was like 5K or something pretty expensive.
It might have been like a collection from Titans of Direct Response. There's this company, Titans of Direct Response, by I think Brian Kurtz runs it, and he put together a package. I couldn't tell you what the package was called or whatever.
Cool, man.
If you had to get one quote tattooed on your body, just like a single liner, what would it be and where would you get it?
Good question. I mean, "You'll never walk alone" across your back's pretty badass.
Oh, what is it?
Liverpool.
Yeah. I don't really follow football anymore, but I was a Liverpool fan. And I also think it's a great song. I think it's yeah, fantastic song.
Sick. Where would you get it?
Maybe across your back, like across the top of your back.
Word, man. All
In terms of
right.
tattoos that look awesome, I think that the arm sleeve to like half your chest, like
Yeah.
the arm sleeve covering half your chest looks pretty dope. I'm not really considering getting a tattoo. In terms of like, if I had to have a sentence, I think probably "You'll never walk alone." It's pretty fucking fire.
Right. I like that. Pretty gangster.
All right. I think we're set with our questions.
Yeah, man. Good.
That was fun. It's good to know you a little bit better now.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I do like to talk. I do like to talk.
Me too, man. Some good fun.
Like anytime me and Schmitty have recorded a product or a podcast or something, we're like, all right, let's keep this one short. This should be like 10 minutes or less. We just end up talking way more than necessary. All right, I guess we wrap this up here. Thank you, boys, for taking the time to interview me. It has been a pleasure. And I guess we got a couple more episodes coming in this knowledge drop. Schmitty will be on those, I very much hope. Otherwise, it's going to be a lonely few episodes. But thanks for listening, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.